Okay, so our next series of videos is titled Roosevelt and the New Deal. Okay, why is the New Deal a big deal? Why does it matter? Well, unlike Herbert Hoover, Roosevelt was willing to employ deficit spending within the government and to bring in greater federal regulation to revive the economy. In response to his request, Congress passed a host of new programs, which helped millions of people receive relief and alleviate some of the suffering that was going on. The New Deal didn't really end the Depression. It did, however, permanently expand federal government's role in providing basic security for its citizens. The impact today. Certain New Deal legislation still carries great importance in American social policy today. The Social Security Act is still around, retires retirement benefits, aid to needy groups, and unemployment and disability insurance. The National Labor Relations Act still protects the rights of workers to unionize. Safeguards were instituted during this time to help prevent another devastating stock market crash. And you get the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, which still protects bank deposits today. All right, well, let's start talking about Roosevelt first, okay? So his rise to power. Republicans nominated Herbert Hoover to run for a second term as president, all right? So the Democrats, they select Roosevelt, who was the New York governor at the time. He was the first to deliver an acceptance speech to a nominating campaign. Why is that important? Well, because he was the first, okay? Roosevelt's policies to end the Depression became known as the New Deal during this time. He won his election in a landslide because Hoover, had taken the big PR hit and was not just doing very well at all. His background, he was from a wealthy New York family, educated at Harvard and Columbia Law School, so he had good education. And he's also a distant cousin of President Theodore Roosevelt. He married his wife. Franklin married Theodore's niece, Eleanor, which is interesting in its own right. So Roosevelt's political career began in 1910 with a seat in the New York State Senate where he supported progressive reform and opposed party bosses. He was appointed the Assistant Secretary of the Navy by Woodrow Wilson, and in 1920, he did catch polio, which is a paralyzing disease at the time that had no cure. Roosevelt did not give in to the crippling disease, though. He went on to do many things even though it caused him considerable pain and discomfort. Much of the time, he would rely on his wife Eleanor to keep his name prominent in politics. Roosevelt narrowly won his race for New York governor. During his term as governor, Roosevelt used government power to help people deal with economic challenges of the time. So you get a precursor of what he's going to do as the president. His struggle with polio made people feel he could somehow understand their hardships. And his popularity in New York helped pave the way for his run for president. Okay, so he's inaugurated. He won the election in November 1932, but his inauguration would not occur until March of 1933, because back then that's how they did it. They actually changed that. During this time, unemployment continued to rise, bank runs increased, and people began converting their money into gold. Some bank runs occurred out of fear that Roosevelt would end the gold standard, which would reduce the value of the dollar, so they would do that. At the same time, an ounce of gold equaled a set number of dollars. To reduce the value of the dollar, the United States would have to stop exchanging dollars for gold. People began taking gold and currency out of banks, this resulting in over 4,000 bank collapses by March of 1933. Many governors start to declare bank holidays, which closed the remaining banks before bank runs could put them out of business as well. Okay, that concludes our first video in this section of videos on the New Deal. And we'll get more into the meat of the New Deal with the next few videos. You'll have a short Edmodo quiz on this. Be sure to take that. All right, thank you. Bye.